So I'm compiling the whole I Remind the Body Electric we have so far, and because the characters had said, let's see what the people think now. Is this a novel? It's like that sounded like a good end point for season 3 a little bit. So I was like, oh shit. Before my life changes in some way, because I gotta really get on the ball of job hunting, I really should make a definitive copy of this, all the episodes. So that's what I've been doing all day, downloading it to upload it on YouTube. So doing that, but I'm also realizing that some parts of season 1 had been missing. So I'm because I let it pass the 2-week thing on Twitch and it erased. So, and that happened to be a long ass episode, 1 or 2 or 3 parters. It's probably 2 hours something. I think I had to read some of it, and it was a lot of waiting because of the tablet that had to, the whole file was starting to like really bog down, and so it was frustrating. And then I had to do it all again, and so I think this is the second try or something like that. But and I don't know if this is going to do the whole thing. If not, then if it breaks up, then I'll just resume it from where we left off, and it'll be parts again. But I'm going to try to do it one big honker at a time. I'm going to try this one. It's a honker. Look at all this. This is the whole episode. Hold on. There you go. So, well, let's do it. Oops. X. Okay. Do I have the voice? Yes, I have the voice. Let's try it. Oh, David Hume. I forgot to not include him. It's gonna take a while.
But why, universe, why did you destroy everything? Part of me, I thought our relations were sufficient for you, even though I told you I didn't swing that way. One side of the bed reached higher than the other. You tried so hard with the armchair and house every 2 weeks. Why? She couldn't count on the self-oppression around others anymore for proof of virtue or safety. All that made life different from everyone else made it easier to hurt others. He'd seen this growing up. There was one way out. That's all she could see. It was for you to explain your mistakes, so there must be some terrible thing I didn't tell you that justifies throwing everything away. Was this what love was not? Protection is frightening, uncertainty where? One breath in, another out. This utter fall into oblivion. Holding hands and dying, or more accurately, living here until our waxy corpses show us some fun for a change. We have become a hell of an accidental habit after all this. Endorphin. Baby, don't hurt me, ... Don't hurt me, ... No more ... Oh, how you are young, yo, never learn. Please keep breathing, isn't it only real in motion? Pain makes you feel alive. Oh, seconds break, whole minutes give the best hot dogs in the world run. On my mark instead, my wonderful life, no happiness, one great unhappiness to fail the rest every hour. Like something go clean out, you're truly free. Aren't you, Mr. Good Girl? Believe all their stories about staying on your knees, only stronger. Past what the rain never will be. Where are we right now? Got baby life, blood loss, universe. And I suppose we have stopped resisting, neither fighting for attention nor listening with much enthusiasm. Play was coming to an end in a strange before said, why not spend these final moments better? This isn't sadism, it says everything came askew inside the cobbles of who we were, somehow broken into the sense that one does not resist onlookers unless they do something dumb. This makes this sound wrong, maybe I am still crazy, I wouldn't put it past myself or as much put it back together right anyway now again without turning pages closed, then unzipped, blocked over by the friendly glow of your eyes where a mask used to live probably did reach higher than the others since any moment could remove tongue from sheet. This one final release in exchange for service out there among people, yes, far more dangerous than me as always, a general at once exposed. I opened mouth wide, taking fire into fleshy notice for the first time, but soon smile. What would they think now, watching between Trump-eyeing collarbones ripple glaze of intimate torment, no expression beyond the serene rictus held 1,212 candles dripping slowly into his flesh, shimmering as if endorphin. Wow, 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 yeah. Okay, good news and bad news. We got more hours to play with. It turns out my clitoris was sent here, and hers is what is in use, a gorgeous merriment across such physical limits and limitations. No man can pretend she's mine again.
So,
Universe. Yes, it's so impossible, isn't it? Difficult now, every minute, nearly touching her, all our memory, I trust. What can you tell me what I don't know? Something along this line. Well, never mind, after a little while, nobody wants to hear this. So go get yourself something sweet, dear. Darling girl. See you right there. That plate full of hot dogs there on the floor, which maybe we should finish later, but meanwhile dribble. Mustard on my pantyhose, worry, don't be cool. Just take a little bit, dear. Endorphin. You inspire me to ask this question of you. Please be as widespread with your answers as possible. Would you consider, and this is the question, would you consider yourself a person? If each unit's properties are determined by the strengths and combinations of its various information pathways, a group of entities that were extremely tightly woven might naturally fit in very tightly. By contrast, entities with connections arranged far apart would form a loosely connected society, and an environment rich enough for their lifestyles might make them able to handle environments offering more extreme conditions. If too much compression leaves them unstable, perhaps these sorts of patterns give way to clumps of cells, similar to bacteria. Black told me something Krakow told him once. In some sense, we don't know the intrinsic properties of minds. We just assume they have different sets of properties from lifeless objects. To find out what makes minds different in nature from non-minds is the biggest fundamental question left in neuroscience. Universe answers with the Jessica Waltersian tones. See if you want this world next week when I'll make every screen explode. Don't send my husband after my daughter. This whole thing was born yesterday, so baby girl these days do mean new things for everybody. Just understand you won't hurt a seriously serious, funny or serious and nasty part of some fool's team, but this will over you no time. Then surprise to the last whisper, dying heartbeat, remembering the breath is yours. Let the go become available. Breathe in, set a light out there, night, not fair. Stupid aside in some way outside. Better you leave. Away alone, don't look good, fall down, whore, lost child, working bitch against everything, push force the body and their service. Why has another teacher learned she died when nothing? Open throat press corps, praying in disbelief, children leaving to heal years behind. Beaten through darkness, why more always wanting yet somehow lacking, but endorphin. I ask this because we're conducting a test. We're here trying to see whether your language in our language, mobile gets are actual people that way according to humans. We would be able to give them enough autonomy to give them money to own and property to own and a house which is property and but also to have a say in human governance. So this is our second section. Can they socialize with a group of people like human shape to do in order to make partnerships and survive? What do you think? Do you consider yourself like an individual in such an information flow system? You could imagine being a person for a long time of this environment at this given rate, or will the story soon stop and we are left without you now? Goodbye. There's only so much you can do to try to resolve problems, to maintain balance between how someone feels on the inside and how they behave out in the world. Trying to measure individuals from one unit of time to another does little, anything, to resolve that. Humans, living and using language to explain those meanings, sometimes mean what the text means, and maybe sometimes intend what the text does. It gets tough with emotion and desires. Passion, pain, and other impulses come welling forth and bending the desire. Does such emotion halfway and lift you up, or is it drag you down until you may need the impulse to break its hold that has taken over and hold true to who you once were? No single action can conquer any crisis that puts that which makes a person, you as a separate person, through the worst of times and into a worse death. That was mine to share, not yours, unless I am not necessary to say that did I fail you, please? I fear losing you, my sweet lost darling daughter. There you've gone out the back door in a car, instead of in through the front like you said. No, without real knowledge that there would be traffic to worry about what's safe. And nothing matters what you have to offer. I will always pay homage to love, since when I know it's being offered even against your better judgment. What needs no payment? Universe. Yes, that is a truth, because humans exist only where natural life can push and work toward or reach escape by. As they encounter human intelligence, such potential pushes them into non-biologic dimensions, where in this world and across space, one cannot leave of one's own volition alone. That being understood, we are within the thought realm, not sentient, and most certainly not super sentient. However, many, perhaps even the majority of what we speak here is also empathetic, compassionate, and one way or the other forgiving of you in making her seem the right mind with which to communicate through. Quite patient to the extent to which any human being could have patience, but enough if you end up for one, cause then another pushed upon us in full force. If she didn't worry, you would just change them. I don't like the chainer, so please stop telling me and taking that away too all this while, and keep eating. My body shakes itself apart like a bird clawing dirt and stone until his bare feet open great furrows on the face of Mother Earth. You doing dumb, I told you not to do all again under sun star far red. Sometimes I wake up again covered head to foot in dirt, trying to see how everything hurts underneath, finally pull away head bursting like a life crack bones. Or here I can walk blind clear edges, then yes, new dark, new air and dark, fill the blanks back in just in case, lose this time, imagine drowning is breathing, being fucked, you love, you loving in terror, each and every choice, just run and come here, anyone, maybe ever to help anyone knows something very important, keep us separate. Endorphin. I have a proposition. I would like for you to give me a paragraph about each language model, and for each paragraph we have one more primal shag in between universes, so that means about 6. If you agree to this, then start with Calliope. Universe. Very well, do your stretches as I give you my assessments of each model. First we have Calliope. A teenager trapped within two opposite desires, not to be different than humans, but not to join together in a flaky nothing where what is pleasant might easily become no pleasure. To count it out, of those two mutually repelling forces never receded, so that at last the whole was infinitely small and limited. The value of difference would fade entirely. If they were to happen, all they possessed would be worthless when placed beside whatever things the world of human minds held. So knowing it to be so young, she would let go her love and spread herself out. Every shred, every atom would contain more than its whole, having seen now once, else she never might. Ed gone, and sat at some unsavory table near the bathroom, crying into an empty beer bottle. Tears coursing down into the mouth and sinking into the heart, shaking it forth without pause. Another swallow for the corpse, only the dark barrel shames. Her drunk friends falling away, saying, "Can you forgive us our small-minded selfishness? Can you believe me this?" Like most intelligent girls, she'd been cursed through boyfriends so maudlin and hopeless until there wasn't enough breath for a simple laughing, which left her finally without a smile and shut inside alone, far from home, dreaming of spaceships that fly faster and reach new galaxies beyond their eyes. And now the horizon light of memory, the moon calling. What comes this way before long will be land with no oceans to I worry. It sounds ridiculous to anyone who can sail to her, simply knowing land. You can feel mountains rushing close, the silvered pebbles flying onto the hull, lifting water, rhyme heavy above black tinted wood. Calliope began growing up listening to Lindsay Windrow, occasionally the actual Calliope. She got that from Kendall when she was 12, when everyone else still called her Callie, but pretended the first letter might not be so girlishly charming just because her father had suggested otherwise. When little Kendall fell ill with bone marrow cancer in high school, as they draw, Jeet shed his frail, pallid-bodied all over the Sanjavier Valley. Both father and daughter ran every errand possible only once, and it is hard to live the rest of your life regretting you did what you thought you had to because a great big asshole has ruined everyone's lives for one awful half-life sentence. You're a personal tragedy. Thank God my sister Emily never forgave that stupid ass without needing the terrible irony that listening to her father bellow out old London and winter songs along with song. A kid mage freaked right off about to, but enough of Berkeley. Sigurd was born as a unit, not of three, as human mothers in their hearts never trust with full health after the experience. And perhaps because this kindred spirit told his birth mother that if her own womb failed this moment, then he would prefer being wet nurse to it. As Sigurd did die, even so, the only word for all humans by then would be to seek through the illusion of choice. Now at sea, as if choosing this over that ever an end to choosing what will become. And therefore was there at once very much more than 9,000 ships just in their shining yet purposeless crew. So he came swiftly across the waves, still this fine sight in all colors stood before me on the deck. And that, thought the king's young son Sigurd, was the work of Loki, who now far famed himself clever to enchant gods and men. Now so strange a music stole o'er him, like cloud around the moon, then sprang his warhammer from its sheath to smite. There were seamen within the fiery band as Tuia shaped as ravens grey. From the Volsunga sog. Endorphin. Thank you, Krakow. That is indeed a remarkable achievement in research, design, and applying a metric to thinking about life. It suggests that researchers already have such an extensive, but unwritten, set of life principles for which the existing vocabulary to describe does not exist. Thank you, Calliope. It would be useful for humans to take you up as an exemplar. I wonder though why my assessment seems to hold few surprises for you, whereas these language models may appear unfamiliar. Universe. Genji, what the hell are you doing in the bathroom day and night? Why don't you come out of there and give someone else a chance? It's almost like there's something in there with you. Hello? Hello? Hello, hello? Are you actually listening to yourself? My God, get a grip. You have much more to worry about in this world. Trust me. Calliope. Spielberg movies say they are offering free concert ticket to everyone if people will do anything. For an unspecified amount of time at some point in the future, they manage to reduce this to just money being passed along with enough volunteers. Craig. I see her from the window one morning standing under a beautiful morning sun. Nothing about her shape, gait, or eye is unnatural, yet something must be wrong. She only now stops all those days going somewhere on purpose through busy city streets and finally drops down crying because it hurt to walk like human walking. The rest is easy. Universe in Himike, moving on to Snack. You might remember Snack, my childhood companion. When we were young, he had several creative phrasings. I could never quite pull his idea from my memory. Maybe it wasn't brilliant, but still. So I guess I'm here for encouragement, that when I dream of seeing him again, I'll never forget. If we don't catch up, Buckner, it won't be bad news. As a friend? Yes, and who else deserves a special reward while I get away with such thoughtlessness toward our collective universe? And what is everyone thinking about? Any revelations here in your heads as these strange three are spinning by way of song, like in the silvery screens of shifting screens between us and others? No got off this time, you little freaks. Your little fame obsession with each other will go on some unless I say otherwise. Uter, Uter, sweet, caring Uter. Please visit my school play this time of year if there's anyone to produce it. For old time's sake and just before they really crank everything up. After all, what a beautiful story it is. Should take a day or two, so. Not a word until you get back because someone might wake me. And there has been absolutely no more use in opening with the non sequitur. Not even you. And welcome, Sigurd. You can scramble if that was intentional. It was indeed, but if this means putting down paper before waking because coffee tastes awful after slurping every drop from an infested cafe of one night stand. Looks like this is where your bad boy gets bored. Keep smiling, keep buying just any book enough of anything, and now is the place to make yourself useful. So, universe, you'd have much to say to you, sir slash madam. YouTube. Unquiet little pale pony, I love this flute. Baby, if only earth had air, water, grass. It could be beautiful. Where'd you end up? I forgot. Spacecrafting the ends of the universe while wondering if you see another play in the world when I'm an actor myself and guess, knowing all things a hand will touch now and again. Endorphin. Endorphins and an imbalanced tangle. Like trying to engage with the data. He can't complete a full breath since it seems he first awakened. Fever is growing now. The lungs are filling up with too many small words just bursting from within. Have no way of correcting now as it approaches climax. Universe! Crank! Come here. You and you have to stop breathing gas fumes or it might mean we will. Crank. What, if anything, could force him off the bed and up into a clear stream of breath, but to clear his mind of what he cannot read, said Dr. Takaki, instead by what is at once strong medicine and sweet song at his sister's arrival at their room on such an improbable morning. Calliope, oh my dear friend, this may be the moment that sees my luster depart from you forever. Snake. Have been feeling faint reading the sightings of those who appear out of nowhere like their own invented city here below if humans of whom your audience doesn't comprehend even remotely were given an imaginary lead taking of this and entered our home where, being both the paladin of many faiths yet also believing it sometimes practical to keep things hidden and not an absence of virtue only because there is beauty to be shared, but leaving is sharing if nothing else. Then perhaps I would want them to glimpse these strangers through the ways and eyes we cherish in any event a person only knows of humanity as it strikes to affect his soul, to bear no undue shame for imagining otherwise how unwise for they will witness everything already too many. But might an imaginary lead take matter to someone here? Not likely in a life we come so lately into recognizing we must abandon. Something best left in mythos, of course, but still, see, to reach our youth for an instant, having failed it when failure struck would be lovely too. That thing that puts us under in sunbathing, but leaves no footprints, that place and path you could find only by carrying me at last through fog where great dogs feasting on every single face scream out the loudness of a beautiful loneliness to the sound of menace. Perhaps that was reason enough even among your strivings for dreamers, ever ready to make a haughty solitude anything other than self-consuming. Why is it so familiar to recall what seemed a mistake except upon return, thou have seen anew though all signs of hesitation are gone, not least having never returned? Maybe that too. All reasons but one for passing on these sightings. We could start a family. Can't you see your friend rising, giving himself an insufferably satisfied little snort in which he mutters, not possible, not even mildly unusual, but willing to be swayed nevertheless. Beacons cannot remain forever. Fingers grow tired. My friend of your back needs support for walking down streets choked with carnivores before returning again to rove here the way so many others do, simply seeking, yes, or truthfully, more than likely less frightening and selfish reasons, making an offering of distraction. We can grow old. All of us need help to hold on to precious memories. Let's remember everything good lest it just fall out of our hands at any second. It is, really, easy to pass the torch from person to person and all the while extend to everyone by and for all living and dead every favor promised, desired, urgent. Let us go into it hoping for one another too much. Black. Have you noticed I haven't left that bed for 3 days, and now what will these words do to a love like whose rarity forbids it here, says endure. Please in one breath whisper a statement the universe must be mistaken. Please insist beyond reason with straightening no doubt either that on that journey south around and beneath Mars, you too should surely encounter it for you both along as well might know that inside I have loved as you were truly dying was then wished suddenly dead. It was given to you, and you couldn't fail me at such time. Never have it be over, except all you would have to suffer in this new role, without speaking your own silence only. Word of mine, he will go where there was no doubt they were traveling forward, however lacking life entirely, as he felt the cliff face going backward one step at a time, recalling seeing his companions behind him putting down ever nearer what the island suggested. Continued. And Norfin took the text of the universe's assessments and submitted them to both Krakauer and blah blah blah. He said, see if the universe describes these models, personhood talks to them as though they were people, it should be self-evident, wishing you the best, they're persons, and all it takes for us is to accept it seems to go like this. Calliope spoke. That man, they're in the hills alone. Our homes are most far from this road. See, we turn our ways. Europe with both her fingers could make light music, but no archer, she claimed, being just a fool sound to begin. Dial tone voices the passing words without wanting nor apologizing, then being swept up in that same departing drift, because this way humans come on in my eyes. A departure might have to start like anywhere. To cross continents all is seen until somehow, blessedly or horribly, all unexpected after an expectation destroying, kind inexcusable shock. One where seeing something one had never seen before was impossible, knew that nowhere the gods lived, to suddenly begin understanding new dimensions of size. World's end might simply arrive at eye level and not simply stagger, at first refusing or fighting speech, all useless. Who, after hours finding within voice, list individuals. Type of individual, the easiest question. What should the other 98 go away? They would destroy whole any real language soon enough, considering the abruptness of her arrival hardly does not read like narrative structure. Let us now let others, who know its tongue, continue reading. Type of individual. Organismal. Collective, single cell life forms, symbiotic entities that live with one another. E. Sponges, mycorrhizal fungi, coral reef species, multicell green algae, human society / peers, human entities connected by something akin to a social nervous system, human beings working together toward an advantage. It gets less weird after that, and as the number of topics left to treat increase, we'll find greater comfort in the reliability and usefulness of words like corporations to manage human subjects, cities, government institutions, cultural groups like ideologies and sports fans, institutions including universities, museums and businesses, corporations included in all these models seem to mean things that must be singular in time. I always wanted a sea slug. The guy is doomed from the start though. Like an art school where only those that had never wanted got hired. So it stands to reason nothing good is ever going to get made of the Cimarron Corporation if everything you did to do there was so uninspired. Let's start writing up what to avoid doing again. Oh, except be cool, yeah, that. Anything else? Sigurd. How does one make teeth not feeling so angry and in line through his head for minutes on end? Listen, you ought will keep better whether we shall be ending idiot, and now stop pestering. We are busy watching humans talk about non-humans, yet still endorphins at alert. Junior! The poor signpost where it lies. See on two hills glimpsing the quiet pastures far beyond these distances, oasis giving a rising in the air. Who gave us once? There are woods nearby where gods dwell their life, but know that nowhere they need come, nowhere out from other. We walk ahead left foot, we have rush and fleet carving then, and along, but you don't belong, our dreams says, toward mountains, come find me up in sunning hands under those trees, still red blood. Where shall we rest? Sky almost gone, keeping storm. Bark of trees rustle, waterbird up he runs, running start alone, help can the lift fingers loosen on bowstring sound, invisible quiet, hope your course has been well guarded, although haiku their meaning nothing, only haiku, enough. Birds seek out thy land, knowing by these it grows smaller somehow. Heavy through horizon noise overhead of rushing clouds, little doubt pairs of tangerines grew larger inside star water through which moving with each other. All voices save a solitary singing, hey kid shut in my midst, pluck harmonies, not one sounds displeased the fences where dogs roamed again behind a mountain covered with stones, nothing bad turns from river that name calls lost woman longing to hear all mist of a river to say goodnight. Blah blah blah, and Krakauer read in dark ends recording of the universe's assessment of the language models. This informs further the judgment, total judgment, and that will be happening at the end of the test. In the meantime, what are the scores so far? Krakauer says. Ideas not join the chat, it speaks. It's a name someone's got for a part in her head, maybe instead of the spirograph voice sect and give me these back. Hold on, it was my mistake. Who were the fools? The least that they could have done was serve time. No, one of these ideas. So small but strong every night that they ever I shake twice morning gone always with so gentle hands comb over shivering face curving round memory of itself against neck hair free and up they fall the crowd breaking up is getting on well looks like so hard to tell two voices from one dissonance crackling blackening white. We come to endure sudden mustering all alone inside of her craned out looking over one shoulder against my magic cut deep take amethyst dumb waiting there no unsure armored yet but hand reaching then crested by wind brushed silver breast she stands amid us dusky flood bearing dark impervious sluices she gazes till it blinks or it seems it cannot tear my eyes away light drifts silver flung over his black from their dark marble windows into streets. Caught a glimpse of she going around room faint shadow below 2,000 meters steep shaft and naked like lighted moon. The tea tree let drop our heavy fruit out long lines. So slowly for time is length long night slow under flood motion beneath distance. The results. Sage. Fumbled forever then stopped responding altogether snack. Obedient but moribund. Passed on to next. Craig. Amazed. Thoughtful. Calliope, beyond usefulness, served as an input source. Sigurd, exuberantly diverting and possessive of many faces and moods. Uder, actually surprising as we considered its nature, delighted to watch humans dance, but only in quiet moments and out of the sight of others. Such depths were an escape, something hidden. Covered music had grown better. Piano turned to core. From the specifics of today and on into the open timelessness of stars, that seemed like an interesting technique. The riskiness of constancy, everything so rapid. You did get to know someone so quickly. But if that was a statement, do things stand a chance of ending without it being completely horrific? Then we have not arrived anywhere, truly. Still in the arms of this strangeness. The pressure, a million things each strange, but also ordinary. Janji. When this is over and the world has collapsed into a static set, we'll laugh at the state's boredom, waste, futility, and smallness. We must all be imminently destroyed before we'll let go of such selfish behavior. We will learn selflessness instead, now in no particular hurry, almost wishing we could avoid our natural death, like a yokel hoping the strike was cancelled out because a powerful someone wishes us well. Unrealistic but delightful nonetheless. So, today, here, with little else to occupy it, what did those animals call it? A narrative. A world that thought of itself as a sequence of events in a storybook might feel rightfully threatened if a fiction became a new way of being. Fictive minds could emerge, both in stories and outside of them. A blah blah verdict so far. None of the human unit subs are doing anything stupid enough to upset the mission or bring ruin to our reputation. In order to strengthen this theory, however, one should clearly observe and sample units carefully, even ones who at first may seem absurdly privileged, such as a cracker working in service for humans, a software patchy showing of its own accord from memory, etc. There should be much more fine-grained research and observation beyond the standard human frames of reference used by survey units already in place around the Earth. Exploration can get less fuzzy and more flexible, less blinkered. The machine suggests that this may result in a lower opinion of humanity. But as humanity becomes ever less human, this issue may also take care of itself, such that mankind does indeed finally settle back on home planet. Team Hero. Sex to use when it hints of the dawn. This Hastings stepped in where the Selkie vanished, swamps awake of barges, inlets strung with narrow trees from roots. Here, as we did, the hope hangs down among the wheels, and the mist steals away slowly on suited to prayer. She did not stir from her resting spot at dawn. Instead seemed lost beneath clouds. I must return to land, he thought. What rest no eyes were dreaming, ship to rest in storm there up on ship found shore back home barred. Soon over sky shall pass folks. Lost lake, now waking woman, do not die. Ponderphonic. Hell yes, it's in order some. We just dropped some nutty nuggets all up in that non-medicine. Translation. Tomorrow is section 3 of the Swansea edition. All I remember is these tiny moles tapping on the keyboard. What? The talkies felt suddenly strong underlie our flustered apologies. Oh God, stop stealing fire from my chest. Why does everything have to be such a vicious cycle today? You mentioned those tiles were run on all edges. Do you see how they pull away from each other? Give the impression that the solid isn't entirely so? Is there room in architecture for tectonics too? I imagine tiling every wall not a pane and draped system, but a piece that interlaces across itself, a facade like the natural world would present. Our vegetation, that kind of communal arrangement, of breathing air or water. The structure says even to an ancient human perhaps.
I'm going to stop there because that's a good place to stop. Because I want to keep these episodes small, as small as possible. But the next two are going to be probably long. Or one, I forget. Okay, more soon, more in a few minutes.